Wow. Let's keep it coming, guys. So, hi, Mick. Hi, Coco. So, happy Sunday, everyone, and good afternoon. So, let's discuss, guys. Today, I'll be talking about tips for a healthy marriage and inclusively tips for a healthy relationship. And it takes works to have a healthy relationship. And a healthy relationship is very, very possible. I choose to come up here to be able to share a little of my wisdom in humility. So, one thing that is very, very essential is that we are put on it here to do some most of the time amazing things, and it has to do with purpose, right? That has to do with how can we be able to make impact in our own little ways. So we can find ourselves in big communities. Sometimes we can also find ourselves in small communities. But whichever surrounding that we may find ourselves, we have an obligation to be of impact, to make impact. And that has to do with how we make use of our God-given gifts. And thank you, Coca. I see you, and happy Sunday to you. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. So, in order to have a healthy relationship, we must understand that having a healthy relationship requires a lot of commitment, requires a lot of sacrifices, and and the thing is that I do say that we are created into this world or to serve. We are all here for service. We must learn to serve one another in our little capacity, and we must be committed to that. So it takes work, a lot of work to have a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship. And if it happens, you see someone who you want to be like, or someone you really wish and desire to be like, there is something that they are doing, and there's a level of commitment that they make in order to better what they are at. And most importantly, that reflection of what you see in them is the things that they have choose, like there are choices that they have made to say, I want to be a representative of good things. And those good things is what people see and emulate and say, wow, I like this thing, and I think I desire to be like this thing. So um it takes a lot of work to be able to have a healthy relationship or a healthy marriage, and it starts from our foundation. And it's just like good nutrition and regular exercise can help you have a healthy body. Uh, there are things you can do definitely to be able to have a healthy relationship. There are things you can do to be able to have a healthy body. So if you prefer to give the right nutrition, so the right vitamins, the right food to your body, you should also understand it takes a lot of work to get the things done. And secondly, if you want to be able to have a healthy relationship, it takes a lot of work, and and that work we are committed to. If we want to be able to have an amazing relationship with family, with friends, with ourselves, we must be ready to do the work. So one tip I would say that can really help us to have a healthy relationship or a healthy marital life or a healthy partnership is the ability to spend time with yourself, getting to know yourself, and the ability to also spend time with your partner. So I would say the first thing is spending time with each other. And why is that important? When you spend time with yourself and your partner, whichever way, you are going to discover a lot of amazing things, and you're going to discover your weaknesses too. You're going to discover the places that you would really need to improve on. And most importantly, why spending time with each other is very paramount for a healthy relationship is because married partners or people who are in a relationship need time together in order to grow strong. So the the ability to be stronger is tied in spending time with your partner. And this is why it is important to spend time with your partner. And when I'm talking about spending time, I'm talking about in depth, that you are giving your attention fully, that you are present, right? When spending time with your partner, you know you're fully there. You know you're present, mentally you're present, emotionally you're present, and you're like, this is our moment. And and most time this is very hard to achieve in relationship because we are sometimes very distracted, okay? Life throws things at us as people. Yes, understandable. But that is where we also have choices that we can make to say, this is what I want to do. I'm ready to do the work in order to get the result that I desire. So, married partners or people in relationship need time together in order to grow strong. And it's very important that people learn, especially people who are in relationship, they should learn to plan regularly, something that they can do together, they can spend their time on together, because this brings bond. It's a way of connecting, it's a way of getting to know your partner the more. And if we make it a goal to be able to do the work right, we can be able to have a healthy relationship. And the first thing that I said is that it takes a lot of work in order to be able to have a healthy relationship. And anyone who is venturing to enter into any kind of relationship should be prepared in every area, because going into relationship, the goal there is to go and serve. Relationship is for service. Relationship is for service, right? And that's one key thing that we have to pay attention to. Hi Benita, good to see you. Happy Sunday to you. Thank you for the roses. I appreciate it. And when we have the mindset to say this is what we want to achieve, and we're ready to do the work towards what we want to achieve, I can guarantee you that you are definitely going to get result. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, no. But the fact is that it is going to be possible for you to achieve a certain kind of results in that goal that you've set your mind on. And what am I trying to say? Thank you, Benita. Thank you. Good to see you. Happy Sunday to you. Welcome. And I can tell you the most downside to relationship nowadays is that people don't invest their time on each other. Rather, they pay attention on their career. All right. Yes, everyone wants to be able to take care of themselves, but in the process, we must make sure that we carry our partners along. All right. So you should be joyful when you're around your partner. All right. You should be very happy when you're sitting close with your partner. You should find it very, very interesting anytime you sit with your partner and you have a lot of things to talk about or a lot of things to do together. And what does this does? It bonds people. It brings them together. It makes them to grow stronger. And even though you are not there to talk with your partner, there is a possibility you can be able to set aside something you can do together. Maybe you can watch a movie together, a movie that is really educating, that can bond you or bring you and your partner to be able to interact with one another. Or not only that, you can do something like games together that can make you guys connect together. Or you can go to date nights, or possibly you can travel together, or you can go to the nature, something that both of you like to do. You invest your time in there. If, for example, your partner likes cooking, you can give your time to, okay, let me just be with my partner today in the kitchen, and then let's do something today together, and then we can be able to connect, we can be able to talk. It's not that easy, but we can be able to make these enormous sacrifices, right? We can be able to uh, create that atmosphere to be able to interact with our partner, and we should make it a very qualitative time. And why do I say this? And most times I realize that in relationship nowadays, people are not really present, and because they are not doing the work to be present, relationship becomes challenging, because it could be one partner is trying to get the attention of the other, but the other person is not paying attention, right? And this causes a lot of rift. Or, for example, your partner is talking to you, and then the other person is with the phone and is on the phone playing games or acting as if they are not there, right? And these things cause people not to connect them more. But if we can be able to come up and say, you know what, when I have to be with my partner, I have to be with my partner. I don't have to do any other thing. And if we have to do something together, okay, we have to make sure we make this happen. And there's not going to be distraction. Then it becomes a qualitative discussion, all right? And the thing is that we have to also have that understanding that people who are very close to us wants our attention, right? In as much we have to give our attentions to a job, attentions to our extended family and friends, we're also obligated to give our attention to a partner. I've had so many people, right, one way or the other will tell me, I gave everything in my relationship, but it happens, it didn't work. It's factual. People give their best in their relationship, yes. But if you want to get the fact out of that conversation, sometimes it's good to sit the both parties down and really hear the truth coming out. Because some people can be able to tell you, no, my partner is not giving me the attention that I deserve, right? I don't have time to talk with my partner. I don't have time to do things that I love with my partner. He's not always home. He prefers to be at work than be at home. And these things turns out to become resentment. And you see people shut down. You see people, because they are not communicating, you see them shutting down, and you see them to be like, he's not changing. And then the feelings start dying. I do say love is like a plant. If you fail to water it, it dies. And that's why it's a walk. That relationship, you should look at it as a form of a plant that we have to water it in order for it to blossom. So if you, for example, see your partner that there are things that you start seeing that was not there, try to have a discussion. And in every moment or time that I have the privilege to be able to say something. I just say the discussion is better than argument. All right. I so much pop. Let me use myself as a case point. I prefer to discuss than to argue. All right. And in discussion, you get to know how people feel. All right. You pay attention. You listen. In discussion, you start hearing the truth coming out. All right. But when you're angry, either the other person shut down, or they don't want to be present anymore, or they're tired of arguing with you, or they don't want to fight anymore, and all of that. But if you have the ability to say, okay, let's discuss, this is how I feel about something, and I want to know how you feel about something, we can be able to find a common ground. And that is why discussion is all about finding what is right for us. But argument is all about finding who is right. And I think a relationship is not all about who is right, but importantly, it's what is right for me and for you. Because relationship is all about sharing. Relationship is all about service. All right. And that is why I hold so much that in the process of spending time together with your partner, it is good that we start investing our time. We have to be conscious that when the moment comes that I and my partner we have to talk, we must make sure we put everything out. Any kind of distractions we have to, and that is the key there. Spending time with each other helps to foster a relationship. Thank you everyone for coming. I recognize everybody's presence and God bless you all. And another thing that I would say is that we have a responsibility as people to make sure that for any kind of healthy relationship to blossom, we need two people. All right, two people. We need two matured adults who can think for themselves and who are ready to accommodate one another. And accommodating one another simply means you have to accommodate their thought, you have to accommodate their perspective. And in that process, we don't have to be judging them. We have to allow somebody to speak. And if you don't understand something, you can ask for clarification. All right, because we are two different vessels. Yes, and we have our own kinds of thoughts. All right, in as much we are similar as people, we are actually different. All right, we have our differences, but we can have similarities. We can have the things that we like to do together. There can be things that I want to do on my own that is possible that my partner doesn't like. I have to acknowledge that and I have to give them the opportunity to be themselves. And then when they want to do something that they like, in as much I don't like it, I can support them to do the things that they like. I can support them to do the things that suit them. That's the same way they should support me to do the things that I like. Okay, and then we have a common goal as a unit, as one body that we can do together. And in this situation, we invest in it together in order for us to have that peace from that thing together. So relationship is built for togetherness, and we must learn to give our time for it. Another thing that I do say is in order for us to foster a healthy relationship or a healthy marriage, we must have that understanding of negotiating conflict. And I can tell you that if we learn to negotiate conflicts in our relationship or in our marital relationship, we can be able to build a healthy relationship. And we must also understand that conflict is a normal part of any relationship. There is no relationship where you don't have disagreement. There is no relationship whereby there is no conflict. All right. Because, like I said in the beginning, we can be similar, but we're still different. Some people think very fast, and some people take time, to process their thought. And some people are very impatient, and some people are very patient. And then when you are a patient person dealing with an impatient person, it can be tough, right? Yeah, it can be tough, but we have a responsibility to acknowledge that that person is different from us. But how we deal with that person in the course of any situation shows our maturity. So, conflict is a normal part of any relationship. And we have to understand that if we don't know how to deal with conflicts in our relationship, we will damage our relationship. So, what is the proper response when there is, for example, a disagreement or a conflict that doesn't go your way? It is very important sometimes for you to look out what really holds you to that person. What are those beautiful things that that person has to offer you, and what has he been offering you? So I call it a reflection moment. All right. And is it that the person is very tense, or is it because they are impatient that moment, that they don't understand that thing? But how do we respond to things in that present moment? We determine how much of a positive relationship we have. So I do say this, that in as much as we have a lot of misunderstanding in relationship, I do say it is very important for us to work out our problems in relationship. And that starts with the way we understand issues. And that starts with the way we communicate. That starts with the way we discuss. So, for example, you have something you want your partner to support you with, and maybe I can use, you want to maybe go to college, or you want to start school, right? And it happens that there's a lot of things in the family or in that relationship that's happening, and you both acknowledge that, and you want to make your partner understand this is something that really matters to you, and this is what you want to do. Now, how do you discuss it with your partner? How do you present it to your partner? Do you present it in the way that he will see you're very desperate? Do you present it in a way that he sees that you're very controlling? Do you present it in the way that you feel you want him to understand you, and you want him to be able to give you what I call a supporting hand, or an advice on how to go about the things that you want to do? And I do say that conflict is a normal part of any relationship. There is a point, however, when it can increase in intensity and become emotionally and sometimes physically unsafe. Working out problems in a relationship starts with, understanding what your issues are and how to discuss them. And I say that, and I can tell you that there are many resources that are valuable to help you learn how to deal with conflict. There are many resources. Some of you, if you're interested, you can DM me, or possibly you can, find a way to get it. But there are many things we must make use of and accept and work with in order to be able to foster a healthy relationship. Especially, we should know how to manage our anger, and especially we should know when to react and when not to react. We should know how when to escalate, or de-escalate situations. All right. And in every opportunity I have, I do try to say that one thing you have to recognize, that most times the person you're with is not actually your enemy, but it happens that there is a lot of things that have happened that we are not paying attention to, and then we start seeing that the person who once loved becomes something else. All right. And if we have the ability to make sure we talk about our problems more in relationship and not shying away from it and trying to find each other's perspective and also trying to find a common ground to be able to compromise and make it a win-win situation and make it a fair situation, like um you try to make sure you win sometimes and make sure your partner wins sometimes and you both win together. I think there will be peace in that relationship. And another thing we can be able to do, thank you, my beautiful wife, for the rose. Thank you. Another beautiful thing that I think we can do in order to have a healthy relationship is showing each other respect at all times. Yes, I'm going to say that this is very difficult. Okay, it's very difficult. The first thing I said it is so important that if we want to have a positive relationship, we must be ready to do the work, like make a lot of sacrifices. And sometimes it's really hard. It's easy said than done, all right? But we can be able to try to get there. It's not all about being perfect, it's all about getting better. So, and I can say the most difficult thing in relationship nowadays is the absence of respect. All right. And I do say when people face to respect each other, they often slips into a negative habits. All right. And I try to say this. Everyone have somehow in their life has gone through up and down. They can resonate with what I just want to talk about now. Right. Sometimes we feel disrespected by our partner, right? And there are some certain things that we do that we think it's right in our eyes, but actually it's not right in our partner's eyes, and that's where the differences comes in. But in as much we are ready to bring down our ego and ready to work with one another and say, you know what, I value you and I value our relationship. So I'm not going to allow my ego to destroy what we have together. That is one principle. So, in as much as anything that's going to present itself, I will put you first before that. So, when a couple fails to respect each other, they often slip into the negative. And I can tell you that research shows that nothing can damage a relationship quicker than putting someone down, than telling someone they are nothing, all right, treating them in a way as if they're nothing, all right. And also, in as much we talked about constructive criticisms, but there are negative criticisms that can really damage relationship. And it is important that if we want to have any kind of relationship that will bring us fulfillment, we must learn to treat our partner the way we want to be treated. All right, let's get that straight. And that shows mostly when things are very tense in relationship. All right, you can be angry about your partner, and it's understandable because when a human being finds something they are uncomfortable with, the natural response is either to get irritated or they angry because they don't understand why this is happening. All right. And even though they understand it, they also see it as this is not right. So, but how do we communicate when things don't actually go the way we want? Do we communicate respectfully? Do we try to tell our partner that actually you are not seeing them as your enemy, but you just want what is best for your relationship with them? And how do you present it? Maybe they didn't actually do something right, but you can be able to tell them and explain to them, you know, this is how I see it. If we would have done it this way, it would have been better. all right? But I think there are little lapses. I know you are actually doing a lot, but I think if you want me to come in to support, I can be able to support you. But here, because you're doing this, actually, we are not getting to this place that we're supposed to get to. And this has to be presented respectfully. And in the process, you have to acknowledge all of the good things they have actually been doing. And treating your partner as you would like to be treated, we actually strengthen your connection. We actually strengthen your bond together. And paying your partner a compliment is a quick and easy way to show them respect. So, if you have a partner who makes delicious meal for you as a man, it's wise enough that, if not at all times, but most of the times, you can do them a little favor. You can tell them, you know what, I enjoy your meal. You know what, your food is the best. I love eating your food than eating outside, and you make it look like that you're telling the truth, because sometimes people can really read you, right? Psychologically, they can actually read you. Acknowledge the presence of OJV. Thank you for joining, Sister Benita, and Chi Best. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate you, ma, and everyone of being here, and to my amazing wife. So it's important that when couples or when people fail to show respect in their relationship, right? Um, there's going to be chaos. And I can tell you that the way we treat our partner determines how far our relationship will go. And what does that mean? If you want your partner to stay with you for the next 30 years, you have to understand there is a consistent work of treating your partner. You have to put in that work of treating your partner with respect, with kindness, with patience. And in that process, that sometimes, even when you want to say no, even when you want to say you disagree with what they're saying, you don't have to be rude. You don't have to make them feel you don't want them, but you are going to be like, you know what, I said no because of this, all right? And even when you are setting your boundaries, it has to be done respectfully. Hi, Fina, good to have you here, and happy Sunday to you. I acknowledge your presence, Queen. And going further, I said compliment is a quick and easy way to show them respect. And what does that tell us you? It tells you that if we learn, like I am learning, I'm not perfect, but I try to do my best. If we learn to compliment our partner, really, if we learn to make our partner feel special, as a woman, you want to hear the sweet words, but your husband wants to hear appreciation. Right? Let's get this straight, because relationship is always a two-way street. It's give and take. Right? If a man gives a lot of compliments. Oh, my wife, you're very beautiful. That dress looks so good on you. You know, and expresses himself physically or emotionally, whichever way that he pays attention, listening to your details. Okay, I think it is also wise enough for the other partner, which is the opposite sex, to do the same. Thank you very much, Fina. God bless you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And we have that a responsibility as people to show respect to one another. So it's not just in our relationship with our partner, the relationship we have with our friends, the relationship we have with our children, all right, the relationship we have with our boss, all right, the way we talk to people matters. Okay, let's get it straight. The way we relate with people, it does matters. And sometimes we can be tempted to complain to someone about our partners, especially their flaws. All right, and I do tell somebody, ask yourself, how do you feel when you hear your partner goes to another person that is outside your relationship and start picking on your flaws and start talking how bad, how disrespectful, how this, how that, that is very damaging. But if your partner wrongs you, you are obligated to come discuss it with your partner and say, you know what, I'm not going to go and tell my friends how my wife is. It's a no, no, no. There is no closeness there. That's for me. I'm not going to go on and on to badmouth my partner. No, there is no way. If there is a problem, I will go talk to my partner. And that is why it is your partner. All right. You go talk and trash that problems to your partner. And the respect that comes with it is that in as much you're telling your partner how you feel about them, you are trying to pay attention to the problems. And you are not going to start to say, oh, how bad and horrible they are. No. But you are going to say, how can we be able to put this thing and solve this thing so that we can be able to have that beautiful relationship? And we have to acknowledge that human being, we are very, very complex and we are very unique in our own different ways. Yes, we are. Right, we are unique in our different ways and we are complex because you can have an understanding about yourself, but the other person don't. And how will they understand you is through proper discussion, communication, and proper observation, and the ability to be attentive to the things that you have been saying. And when we learn to do this and try to accommodate one's another's thoughts, then we can be able to forge ahead and we can be able to foster a good relationship. And then I do say this, if you want me to give you an enormous respect as a human being, you must be able to show me respect because it's always a two-way street. And then you cannot be disrespectful to me and expect me to respect you. It doesn't work that way. And this is the bigger problem. And then relationship is not to command. Okay? Relationship is not to command people. Relationship is not for you to sound as if you are in charge. But in as much you have some controlling abilities in the form of leadership, which I call 7, all right? In as much you know how to put things together, but you must be very, very sensitive to the other person, all right? Learning and finding a common ground to make sure that the other person is not left behind. The other person acknowledge that you are very fair to them, all right? So let's say in the area of finances, you earn a lot of money and your partner doesn't earn money. Don't use it as an office to abuse them. If you have to contribute. If you have to pick them up when it is needed, pick them up, all right? It is a way of showing you value them. And then when they are also better, it is wise enough for them to do the same for you. Because in order to foster a healthy relationship, there should be an amount or the presence of enormous support from both parties. And it is also very important that we must learn about ourselves first. And I do say we should make it a point to work on our self-discovering because many partners enter into a relationship without knowing enough about themselves. Many people enter relationship without knowing enough about themselves. And as a result, they can also have difficulty learning about their partners. I have been privileged to sit down with amazing people in my life. I have to be very, very humble to say this. And in the process of talking, I could really find men and women who are ready to learn. And you see, they really have a lot of awareness about who they are, but in the process, they give chances for people to advise them, for people to teach them, and it's all fun. But when you don't know enough about something and it happens, you venture into it, it can sometimes be very difficult for you to manage what you are into. So that's why it is good to have understanding about yourself. And then when you are heading into any relationship, it will not be so difficult. And learning about yourself will equip you to grow as an individual. And you cannot give what you don't have. That is a common phrase we have been hearing, and it is very, very true that if you are not patient, you cannot teach someone to be patient. Maybe you can teach patience theoretically, but you cannot teach it practically. We all are working in progress. So if we see that some of our behaviors, maybe the ways that we acted is out of order, because we are human beings, there should be a level of humility that has to be shown. You have to acknowledge it and say, you know what, I am very, very sorry. I think I overreacted the way I did, but it's just the way I felt, and I know I've hurt you, but I will try to be better. And in that process, you find things to be able to do that can help you become better. And I think that's one key that we as individuals, we must make sure that we learn things about ourselves. For this will better equip us to grow as an individual, and it can also influence the relationship that we have with our partner. And regardless how long you have been together with your partner, there are always more things you can learn about him or her. If we learn to pay attention, all right, there are many things we can learn about our partner. So I mentioned spending time with one another is a way of fostering a healthy relationship. But in the process that, for example, you are aware about yourself, you can't be able to be paying attention about your partner, and then you're saying, okay, I'm like this and she's like this, and she has been able to talk to me about this and about that, and I have the desire to be a good person, and I think it's nice to also see my partner becoming better. So what can I ask my partner? What can I talk to with my partner? So you can ask the right questions, like what are your dreams, what are your future plans, and what are your fears, and in this process of dialoguing, all right, or talking together, you start saying that there is connection that you're building. You start seeing connection that you're building. And when the connection keeps burning, the relationship keeps going. Oh my God. When the connection in your relationship keeps burning positively, the relationship keeps going. And before you know, you have spent 20 years with your partner. Before you know it, you spent 30 years with your partner. Before you know it, you want to do it again with the same person. If we are committed to discover new things about one another in our relationship, we can be able to keep the fire burning, and then we can be able to have a healthy relationship. And then I would also say this, that it is very, very important that we must explore intimacy. We must learn to explore intimacy in our relationship. And marital intimacy can open your relationship to a whole new level. It will open your relationship to a whole new level of enjoyment and closeness. Intimacy is very, very important in a marital relationship. And intimacy does not really mean sexuality. I'm not talking about the sexual intimacy here. All right. And, it's how much of what you know about your partner, and how much they can confide in you, and how much they feel safe around you, that will guarantee the kind of relationship you will have. How much of openness does your partner have with you? How much of closeness does your partner have with you? How much does your partner feel safe? If you gossip about your partner and he or she finds out how would they feel? And in the process of being intimate with your partner, we know that if we do it rightly, it will bring us closer to each other. And I do say this, an emotional intimacy is key when your partner is going through challenges. It can be health-wise, for example, things that really drains people, right? Any kind of thing that causes fear. How do we connect with our partner? Do we show them that we are with them in that situation? Do we give up on them? Do we try to help them to navigate that path? If we learn to spend the right quality time with our partner, it brings us to get closer, and in that process we start fostering a healthy relationship. So marital, intimacy can open your relationship to a whole new level. And there will be a lot of enjoyment and there will be a lot of closeness. And I think that's what we desire in our relationship. And that desire that we have is that we want to be close to our partner. We want to enjoy our relationship with our partner. So, however, it is very important for us not to counter the sexual intimacy, because that is important, but that is not the only thing that can bring us close in our relationship. It is important that we learn to create a safe space for your partner, both the man, both the woman, for them to be able to share their emotions. And in the process of sharing their emotions, we can be victim of it. Sometimes we're too attached to the discussion and we start criticizing or we start judging. It is a wrong thing to do. All right, but can you be able to make your partner feel that in as much, even if they are going to make mistakes in their conversation, and in as much you are going to tell them how you feel about what they are telling you, but are you going to make it feel that your conversation with me is safe and I'm here protecting you, I am here supporting you, and it is you against the world, it is you and me against the world, and we are in this together and we can be able to go through these things together. And then it is important that we don't judge one another in our relationship. We must learn the difference between emotional and physical intimacy and when each one is most appropriate. Okay, we must also learn that the difference between physical and emotional intimacy and when which one is required. And we have to understand that offering our partner one type when they really need the other can create problems in your relationship. So I will give you a simple illustration. Let's say, for example, your partner mom's is ill. All right, and I'm talking about your wife as a man or your girlfriend. All right, there are challenges in the home, and you know that somehow this thing can make your partner to be disturbed emotionally because she's attached to a family and she loves, for example, the mother, the father, or the brother, and none of them is feeling fine, and she's worried because she wants them to be okay. How do you support your wife as a man? When, for example, there are crises in the home, how do you step up for your partner to say, you know what, I think you have to relax your mind. It's not a time of kissing, all right? Like the Bible says, there is time for everything. It's not a time of kissing or trying to be sexually connected, no. But it's a time of discussing, of encouraging, of showing that support and solidarity that, you know what, I'm right beside you. Your brother is going to be fine. Your mom is going to be fine. You can go all your way and call homes to know how they're doing. And if there are crises, any kind of crisis, in any way you can step up for your partners. And in this way, you are getting close and you are building a long-term connection. Hey, Mama Sura, thank you for joining. Happy Sunday to you. Acknowledge your presence. And it is one thing that breeds connection in relationship, and it fosters a healthy relationship. And I would say this, in as much I have hitted 5 points, I would like to go back and say them again so that for those who are joining, they understand what we are talking about. I'm treating tips for a healthy marriage, and I said it takes work to have a healthy marriage. So the first tip that I mentioned was learning to spend time with your partner. It's paramount in building a healthy relationship. And number two, I made mention we have to learn to negotiate conflict. We have to understand that conflict is a normal part of any relationship. All right. There is no relationship without conflict because you are unique in your own way, and sometimes life is going to throw things at yours and at you guys, and sometimes you can even create problems for yourself that is going to affect your partner. But how do we talk about it? And I said one thing, I said discussion is all about finding what is right, and every healthy relationship must understand that there must be presence of discussions, of communications. But argument is a no-no, because argument is all about finding who is right and you want to win. But in relationship, you want you and your partner to win. And I mentioned showing respect for each other at all times. We have an obligation to show respect to our partner at all times, not sometimes. And maybe sometimes you overreacted because sometimes our emotions can take the best of us. All right. We have the ability to kill our ego and apologize. Apology shows that you prioritize the relationship over the argument, over the conflict. And that thing can create a healthy relationship. Forgiveness is very, very important. So I cannot say anything without saying apologies, because we are human beings, we are complex in nature, right? In as much we are unique, in as much we are different, but we can also be similar. But the ability for us to choose us and put value on us and put the conflict as second will help us to navigate a successful path in our relationship. And then I was on the fourth one, which is learn about yourself first, the process of self-discovering. We must make it upon ourselves to discover who we are. And in this process, when we discover who we are, we can be able to understand our partner too, and then we can be able to help. We can be able to do for them, all right, something that is good. And we must explore intimacy. That was what I was on the fifth before you guys joined. So the next thing I would say that can foster a healthy relationship, I would say we must improve our communication skill. Yes, I will talk more on this. We must, as people, we must come to the understanding that if we keep working on our thoughts, if we keep working on our communication, what we say, all right, we should not be surprised when we start getting the best out of our partner, because the things that happen in relationship, I can say one of the downsides in relationship today is when you hear people communicate, when you hear people talk, what is their tone? How do they talk to you? Are they shouting? Are they yelling? Are they trying to be defensive? If we learn to mind how we talk to our partner, we can be able to reduce more of the tensions in our relationship. So the ability to talk and listen to each other is one key to a healthy marriage. And Mommy Sura said communication is very important in relationship. Yes, I can tell you it's one of the most important thing in relationship. The ability to talk and listen to each other is one key to a healthy marriage. And we have that understanding that we should never assume your partner knows what you are thinking or feeling. We should, as people, never assume that I know what my partner is thinking, or I know what they are feeling. It doesn't mean through observation you cannot maybe able to psych what is going on. Like you can feel maybe my partner is in trouble, maybe she's worried, but you don't actually know what is going on. But you have a responsibility to ask the right question. Be like, you know what, babe, today, it's like you feel off. Something is not right. Are you bothered? Are you worried? Is something wrong? Okay, if you're ready to talk, I'm all here, right? We can walk through this, but I'm not happy seeing you, this way. That ability to acknowledge and communicate or talk respectfully, can help us foster a healthy relationship. And it's important for us to tell our spouse what is going on. And as a spouse or as a human being, we also have to come to the understanding that we must listen. For any relationship to work, we must be attentive. We must pay attention. We must be present. And learning to really hear your partner is a skill that may require practice. Yeah, not everybody have the ability to listen. All right. People are very good. I'm going to put my words in quote. Some people are very good to talk, but they are not good listeners. And in order for you to have a healthy relationship, we must learn to be a good listener. Communication makes couples learn each other. That's right. Communication will reveal your partner. And I think it is a skill that we must practice daily. And I do say this, any opportunity we have to improve ourselves, let's do it. Because education is power. And education, when education is present, you see ignorance suffers, right? So the fact is that we must educate our mind. We must consume the right resources, the right materials, right? We must talk to the right people, and we must make sure we have an atmosphere that is conducive for us to meditate on our thought daily. And when communicative, we must make sure it is an effective communication. So listening and paying attention to our partner help us to have a healthy relationship. And we must make sure we improve what we say, how we communicate to our partner. And I just say this many times that I'm privileged to talk, like today. I just say it is not what we say, but how we say what we say that matters. It is not what we say, how we say what we say that matters. And if we learn to communicate respectfully, and if we learn to communicate politely, and if we learn to humble ourselves and let pride go and try to value the relationship more than the conflict, then we can be able to have a healthy relationship. And then another thing I would say is create a spiritual connection. Create a spiritual connection. Many couples grow closer when they share some form of spiritual connection. And this can be done in different many ways. For example, it may be through an affiliation with a church, all right, a mosque, or any kind of belief that we believe in, all right? And it can be a form of true meditation, or by simply spending time in the nature, or possibly having intimate conversation. And any kind of things that brings you closer to your partner. It is good we create time for such stuff. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, baby. Um, I appreciate that, babe. So it is very important that we create that time for each other. All right, man. Surat, Thank you. Thank you for being here. So, I made mention creating a spiritual connection. All right. Anything you can be able to do that can bring you and your partner closer can help to foster a healthy relationship. And I would say this: forgive each other. Forgiveness, it's very important in everything. We must learn to forgive ourselves. We must also learn to forgive our partner. And I'm going to tell you, even forgive your partner before they hurt you. That's another topic I will bring for another day. Because when your partner, for example, done something to you, you're surprised, right? But there's something I do try to say in my little time. You know, human beings are not perfect, so we should have some expectations. All right, if we have our list, we should have that expectation of somehow our partner is going to hurt us. All right, they are going to hurt us because they are human beings. All right, they are going to do something to upset us. All right, they are going to somehow step on our toes somehow. All right, so it is very important that if he or she has not already, your partner is going to do something that hurts, that frustrates, or upsets you. Guess what? You are going to do the same thing. Sometimes it might even be on purpose after an argument or misunderstanding. So forgiveness is it's a tricky thing, right? But it's an important virtue in marriage. Forgiveness can be tricky. It depends on how we see it, but it is an important virtue in marriage or in any relationship, especially when we know we are not perfect. So we have to try to allow our partner some room to make a few mistakes, because you too will also make mistakes, especially you make some of your own mistakes. And when you make a mistake, quickly to apologize is the key. Quickly apologize and fix that problems. Doing so will help to encourage forgiveness and strengthen your marriage. So anytime we make mistakes in our relationship, we should apologize. We should acknowledge that we have done something wrong, and we should apologize. And not just apologizing, we should make sure we do the work not to repeat that cycle again. So that is why forgiveness, it is important. So we must learn to forgive each other in our relationship. We must learn to find a way to create room for forgiveness. And lastly, today is we must look for the best in each other. We must learn to look for the best in our partners. We must learn to look for the best in our relationship. So when you met your partner, you fell in love with some of his or her wonderful qualities. Yes. When you met your partner, it's either you like how intelligent he is, how funny he is, how generous he is, how caring he is, how loving he is. And your view of those qualities may have changed. Yes, that's true. As time goes on, we are prone to change, and change, they say, is constant in life because life itself is dynamic. So I can give some, for example. Maybe you have a partner who can save good, right? He may have been really good at saving money when you met. Now you just think he's cheap. You just think they are cheap. It's very important that you give each other the benefit of the doubt and create a list of all the things you love about your partner. It will help you to fall in love all over again. when we learn to pay attention to the strengths of our partners, that thing that brought us closer, and the other partner learns to pay attention to the other partner on the things they once appreciate, and learn to look at their strength and not pay too much attention, on their weaknesses in the way of criticizing their weaknesses, we can be able to give room to each other. And then with time, when we learn to be outspoken, telling them, the time I met you, I still cherish that moment. You were an amazing, you were an amazing person. In every given moment that your partner has really done something that is worth it, learn to pay attention, learn to say them to them in a way of complimenting them, in a way of reminding them that you acknowledge their sacrifices in your life. All right. And when we do this, it helps us to be able to build a healthy relationship. So we must learn to spend time with each other. We must learn to negotiate conflict. We must learn to show respect for each other at all times. And we must learn about ourselves. And we must explore our intimacy. And also we must explore our common interest. I would want to talk about that. All right. It is good that you explore your partner's interest. And why is it very important? Couples thrive when they share similar interests. That doesn't necessarily mean each partner will enjoy every activity, but it opens up the opportunity for greater sharing and compromise. Doing things separately is not bad. That is not bad. When you see people do things separately, that does not mean it's bad. No, but common interests are important to healthy marriages. And now a common interest can be maybe cooking or eating new foods together or going for walks or playing cards. The goal is to have something outside your family that you both can enjoy. So exploring common interests can also foster a good bond, a healthy bond, and make the relationship to be healthy. And when we learn to do all of this and we do it with the right partner, then we can be able to have a happy relationship. So I hope this somehow transform our thoughts or add to what we already know. So it is great to be here today to share a little of what I know with the world. And most importantly, for the people who are here, I acknowledge your presence. And I so much thank you for your time. And I can't pay for it, but really from the depth of my heart, I appreciate every amazing person who are here. So thank you, Chivest. I appreciate. Thank you very much. So if anyone has a contribution, my boss is open and we can be able to learn and or ask questions, all right, and find a way to improve our relationship. And in relationship, there are a lot of problems, okay? And we know that, but we must pay attention, like I said, on our strengths. We must pay attention to our strength. And if there are weaknesses, we should be open to learn and better ourselves. So poor communication is a big impediment to a healthy relationship. It's a big impediment. So it's good for us to learn how to communicate in our relationship, all right? And if you have seen people maybe making few remarks, especially those who are close to you, and maybe 1 to 3 to 5 people are making remarks about, you have a problem of this or that. I think they should say it respectfully, but it's good we pay attention to take that critics and like, okay, we are going to work on it. We're going to work on it. Hey, Sister Grace, good to have you here. Happy Sunday. Oh, God bless you. Good to have you here. So it's one of the things, poor communication, and it's important that when you live together with your partner, I do say this, all right. Put the cell phones on vibrate, especially when you are discussing with your partner. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we are victim of all of this, but we can be able to improve ourselves, all right? So when you're present with your partner, it's and you have an important discussion or you want spending time together, put everything aside. Sometimes put the phone's vibration, put the kids to bed, and let voice may pick up your calls. Okay, that can possibly help. So I'm getting a request. So I'm going to okay. So one thing I can say. So
Okay. Good
hello,
evening.
good evening, Chief
Good.
Best. Good to have you here. Happy
You have
Sunday.
spoken well. Happy Sunday. How's
Thank you.
family?
We're doing
I'm
fine.
just here listening. You
Okay.
are a great, amazing speaker.
Thank you,
May
man.
God give you more grace. But
Amen.
there's something that most of the times worries me. Nobody know it all.
Yeah.
I go through my mind all the times, majority of the times, asking myself, what will I be discussing with this person? Although there is intimacy, although there is French connection, but most of the times we don't have anything to talk about.
Mm.
What are the things that we should share with our partners? What are the things that we should bring to the table, discuss? Okay, forget about the future. Okay, let's not talk about the recent, like general questions, general discussions. Do you
Mm.
understand? Something that
Yeah.
will keep the day-to-day relationship busy. Everybody knows that we're gonna be in future. Okay, there will be future, but as it stands now, you're not going to be talking about future all the time. What are
True.
the things? What are the discussions? What are the things you be talking about? Can you please clear me on that? Because I need an answer to this.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that's a very wonderful questions. And first of all, I want to say thank you for being up here. I appreciate. Um, yes, sometimes life is really challenging. I can say that, but I think there are many things we can always talk about with our partner. All right, but the first thing is that the partner, the person you are involved with, does it really have the time for you in the relationship? All right, because I think there are many things to talk about there, like if there are kids involved in relationship, how do that they go? All right, if he's at work, what did he see at work? What did he do at work? All right, and asking the question, how was your day at work? And if he has been working for a long time, and you can ask him, what are you looking forward to? Have they been treating you at work? How do you relate with your colleague? Like different kinds of conversation. And it's possible sometimes for the woman to have you been coping with the kids at home, all right? And we want to explore all of that part, the perspective of the woman, how she's been dealing with life, if when dealing with life when I'm not there, all right? And also, what are her thoughts? That when you're away, what does she think about? All of these are conversations that we can have, and many more. But the most important thing to get into this atmosphere is to have somebody who is actually present and who's ready to discuss about things with their partner. Are
Exactly.
you hear- are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
okay,
Most of us are not educated. Most of us are not learned.
uh-huh,
Keeping a relationship where there is lack of education most of
yeah,
times affect relationship.
true.
Do you understand? So
True.
I don't know. All the things you say, sometimes I discuss them, but
Mhm.
you may be discussing such thing with somebody who is a little bit lower in education. In education, okay, it's not the
Yeah,
same level with you. You can bring everything to the table because you don't
yeah,
have the same mindset with you,
true. That is
and
true.
it won't be giving you space to explore, to ask questions, the things you want to see, the things he's looking out for or she's looking out for. In general, it's very difficult for some people.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that because, in as much I am treating this topic, there is something that I do pay attention to because I think every successful relationship or every kind of relationship that's going to be for the long term, whereby couples or people involved finds happiness in one another, is two people who are ready to do the work. All right. Yeah, I have to say that because it has to be two people who are ready to do the work. So, for example, if I have a partner who, let me say for me now, if I have a partner who is mentally strong, like she likes to talk about, let's say, politics, for example, and let's say they like to talk about geography, all right, they want to talk about climate condition and all of these things. And I can pay attention because when I was teaching, I was talking about paying attention. All right, I would see the things that interest them and I would want to read on that. So, in as much that I know that it's very challenging sometimes to be able to cope with somebody, I would not like to use the word below because I have respect for every human being. But somebody maybe who is not in the same line as you. So let me use that right word. I'm not going to use the word below. I'm going to say they are not in the same capacity, right? Like you are very good in one thing and they are good in another. So how can we foster balance? Is for me to bring myself down and somehow want to see what they do and what they like. And then when I know they like these things, I will want to ask them questions based on these things. And then they will also try to learn what I am good at. And they try to bring those conversations to me because they know it interests me. And then when we learn to do this, I think somehow we can be able to contribute on our relationship and then our relationship will start going towards the right direction. I believe everybody have a line of interest in their in the things they like. I believe that. But are we ready to somehow just put ourselves out of the line a bit and see what they enjoy and want to be part of it? In that process, when we are giving, they also start learning how to be given to us. And this is what I
Exactly.
can contribute. Yeah,
Thank you so much. I'm really
thank
glad to be here.
you.
Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
day.
Thank, thank
Okay,
you. Thank you.
bye.
Thank you. Ma'am Sura, thank you for being back. I really appreciate you. And Shibes, thank you for that amazing question. It's the right question. And also, somehow it has helped me to have another perspective. Because I think on my own that if we're ready to have a very wonderful relationship, we must make sure that some of the certain things that we discover that we don't know before, it's not just discovering them, but working on them. When we discover something, how are we going to provide solutions? And if there are problems, how are we going to provide solutions? And how are we going to work on that path in order for us to build a healthy relationship? And I'm so happy today that I could be able to discuss this topic. Most times I try to be here, but it's very hard, and and I am very glad to have you all here. So it is also very important that when we
with our partner, all right, it's good to be very attentive. Okay, it can be maybe one person likes to watch movie, all right, and they like to watch when they are relaxed. They want to watch movie, something interesting, and maybe you as a man, you're just somebody who is not into this thing. Well, once in a while, you can just want to watch something with your partner, all right, and it's not only you giving to them, it's not only you trying to make them better. The more you're making effort to learn what they are learning, I think they should also learn what is good for you and what makes you happy, where your interests are. So men likes to watch football, right? And if they have a partner who is not into football, some they have the desire my partner should do that, but they don't, all right? And if we want to be able to keep them closer, we must make such sacrifices, all right, in whichever way that we can. Little sacrifices help us to, better our our relationship. Thank you, Grace, for the likes. I so much appreciate. I so much appreciate. So it is key that we must make sure, instead of arguing in our relationship, especially when things doesn't go our way, we should we should learn to discuss them. And that's what I said. Discussion is better than argument, because discussion is all about what is right, and argument is all about who is right. And I think relationship, it takes two to tango, and we must try to make sure that we work together. All right. And I make mention mostly of respect. What do you do in the absence of your partner? All right. Not just fearing your partner. I don't mean fear that you are afraid of your partner, you can't talk to your partner. That's not what I mean. The fear not to do harm to your partner, whether in your presence and in your absence. When you are alone, how do you carry yourself? How do you carry yourself? All right. How do you put respect on yourself? This matters. When people are around, how do you interact with your partner? All right. This is very valuable. Okay. How we talk to our partner, how we relate to our partner. And then the biggest challenging thing in relationship, I would say, sometimes will be many people shy away to have that conversation. It's money problems. And money problems can start, and when it starts in relationship and we are not careful, it can cause a big rift, because inasmuch we know money answered all things, we must be careful in relationship when it comes to money problems, because too much attachment of it can really cause a rift. So it's good for us to be honest about our current financial situation. So if things have gone south, we have to discuss. If things doesn't go the way we want about money, we have to come to the table and talk about it. And when we keep talking about it and finding common way to work on it, and finding common ways to learn and improve in it, then things will be better for people. And argument is something personally I would not sign up for. I would prefer to communicate how I feel about something. I would like to communicate how I see something, and I am willing to make compromises with my partner or with my friends, especially when we have a common goal, something to do. I will kill my ego and focus on my relationship with that person. And when we can be able to find a common ground, then we can be able to have a healthy relationship, because it's all about winning together. It's not all about winning alone. All right. So I was told growing up that we all have our destinies. Right. And if we all have our destinies, then we must come to the realization that when two people tango together, they have to help one another to fulfill their own God-given destiny. All right. They have to come together to be able to support one another in the direction to the fulfillment of their destiny. And that is how I see relationship. I don't see relationship as a place for selfishness or self-centeredness or a place of me alone. I see a relationship as a place of we. All right. And everyone have to put their hands on desk and do the work together. Don't let one partner do the heavy job and you are finding the lightweight job. No. Let's do the job together in order for us to have a beautiful relationship. Let's raise our kids together. If my wife is stressed, let me come in as the husband. All right. If my friend is stressed, let me come in as a good friend and cover up their space. Because that's the essence of a relationship. Thank you very much, Grace, for that gift. I appreciate you. Thank you. And everyone who joined, thank you. And it's important, if things are going south, we should find a way to sit at the table and say, you know what? How are we going to work on these things together in order for us to have a bright future? If you can support your partner to become something, because for me, relationship is all about fairness. I deserve to be happy and my partner deserves to be happy. I deserve to have food on my table and my partner should have food on the table. If I desire to have a lot of things in life, same with my partner, it has to be a fair game. It has to be a win-win situation. Because when she wins, I win. When he wins, you win. So that's the essence of it. That's the essence of it. And the way we communicate and also our action, all right, our character, all right, will determine what a relationship we would have. And I think everyone seeking a partner has some kinds of expectations to be treated with love and respect, to be supported, and to have a factor of compassion in their relationship. So we must make sure we create room for all of this. And when we can do this, then we can be able to foster a healthy relationship. And I'm so glad I could be able to come and share what I have in my heart with the world. And the beautiful thing is that you can be able actually to do the work. You know, we can be able to do the work. If we put our mind to it and the other person is open to do the work with us, then when we have a relationship we'll be proud of. The many reasons relationship crash in this generation is because one partner is doing the work and the other one is not ready to work with them. And it's all about agreement. So compromises is important. Hearing from your partner about their decisions is important. Right. And Miss Flourish, yeah, thank you for coming. Happy Sunday to you. You're welcome. And it's very important that we as people, all right, we must come to the realization that when one person is doing the heavy job or trying to put herself or himself on the line in order to be able to build a relationship, and the other person is not doing or not supporting or taking some, involving themselves in some part and leaving some part, it will not work. It is all in. We have to give it all. If the man is supportive, the woman should be supportive. If the woman is supportive, the man should be supportive. It is our family, not my family. When it comes to relationship, there's nothing like my family. It is our family. It is our success. It is our growth. There is nothing like my children. It is our children. Because the wings of your child will bring a lot of joy to both of the partners involved in the relationship. So when we are doing the job, you see a woman getting the kids ready. And if you can, as a man, do the same thing for your wife. If not at all time, but show that you are involved. Show that you are involved in the relationship. And when we are showing that we are involved, not only financially as men, but mentally we are involved in the growth of our children. Psychologically, we are involved. Emotionally, we are involved. All right. Financially, we are involved. And in everything, we are involved, not separating ourselves. Not separating, this is what I will do, this is what I will not do. That involvement, when we learn to do it, we are inculcating the right values of sharing with one another, that we have to share our successes together as family, and we have to share our failures together as a family, and we have to understand that we are team in our vineyard. And when we learn to do this as men and women, we will lessen the burden of chaos in our relationship. We will lessen the stress in our relationship. The reason sometimes your wife is stressed out or your partner is stressed out is because actually she doesn't have the helping hand. All right, it's not all about the money. But sometimes can you give her an opportunity to rest? You take the kids away from home, or you do something for her and she can have a little space to rest. Same thing with a woman. You cover some space for the man in order for him to rest. If we can work together and understand that we are team, that we are graciously made for each other, then we will definitely have a healthy relationship. I acknowledge the presence of PhD Madrid. Happy Sunday to you, brother. So the thing is that spending time with one another in our relationship help us to know one another. Then when you pay attention, you start seeing maybe your partner is stressed out, maybe your partner is very, very tired, and having conscience, that you go out as a man throughout the day, you're at work, and then your wife is taking care of the kids. When you come back from work, it is understandable you are tired. But when you were at work, your wife was doing a work. But that kindness and compassion is, let me experience my kids. Let me sit down with my kids. Let me talk to my kids. Let me see how they are doing. Let me play with them. And then the woman, your wife, can be able to go to a quiet place and calm down. Because the next Tuesday, you are going back to work and she's continuing doing the job again. Both of you are working, but both of you are working together. So the essence of relationship is for these hands to wash the other hands in order for it to be clean. The essence of relationship is for us not to be alone, that we have to continue working together. We have to continue trying to do something together in order to foster our happiness. It is our growth. It is our happiness. And when we do the right thing towards each other, we will be happy. We will be happy. And it's also a form of showing respect. It's also a form of acknowledging that this is something that I value. And because I value it, we keep taking care of each other. Because I value my partner, when she's sick, it's like I'm sick. If I value my partner, I will learn to take care of her when she needs me. Even when she don't need me, I will want to go off my way and do something for her. And then we as women will also do the same thing towards our man. And when we can do this, we have a healthy relationship. Relationship is meant to help us become more happier. We are already happy, but to be more happier, we are already joyful. To be more joyful is to bring out the best in one another. Relationship is to bring out the best in one another. There is no greediness in relationship. It is all about sharing. It is all about serving one another. I serve you, you serve me. You're kind to me, I will be kind to you. The commitment for a long-term kindness, the commitment for a long-term sacrifice. All right. What relationship is made for? Having each other's back, advising and encouraging each other to be the best of themselves, keeping striving and being motivated to be able to become better, that you can be a motivation for your partner, and your partner can be a motivation for you. That when one is weak, you try to help them to stand up. When one don't know the direction they should go, you can be a guide to them. And you contribute positively when you're in a relationship. And when you do this, or when we learn to do this, well, we have a healthy relationship. And I hope that this can help us to become these little tips that I gave today. For those who are here, and for me too, I'm talking to myself. It is all about getting better. It is all about becoming the best of myself. And I do tell people, success is a battle between you and yourself. So the problems in relationship, actually, it's us. It's us that makes up relationship. And we are actually the problems. So if we want to harvest the best in our relationship, then we must learn to invest our best. In order for us to harvest the best, we must learn to invest our best. We must learn to nurture, water, take care of what we have. All right. If something is going south, we should not tell the world. We should come talk with our partner. And our partner should be willing to listen to us. And then we can work it out. No matter what it is, we can be able to work it out. There are great women out there, and there are great men out there. And if we want to keep having that great woman in our life, we must learn to be great by her. And if a woman wants to get the best of his or her partner, learn to do great things by your partner. And that is the key. And that is the key to every relationship. And sometimes we do think there is someone that is, we fantasize about I wish I'm with this person. You are with this person. What if the person is not ready to do the work? Then we can repeat the same cycle again. So the point is not changing partners. The point is being with somebody who's ready to do the work with you. And that is the essence of relationship. And that is why when you find somebody who's ready to do the work, somebody you can respect and they respect you, somebody you can sacrifice and they sacrifice for you, somebody you can go extra miles and they do the same, somebody who can have your back, you will not want to look for anything. That's why the Bible says two become one. Two become one. And that's the goal. Finding one, and then you become two, and then you start doing something to become one. And you start working together to become one. Become one entity, one body, having the ability to support each other, that their wins are your wins, that their success are your success, your success are their success. If they see opportunity, they are going to invite you to go do it. If we can learn to do this in our relationship, then the sky will be the beginning. So, thank you, everyone. Chibes, thank you for your amazing contribution and for the mind-blowing questions. All right, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. PhD, thank you very much. And my darling wife, I appreciate you. And Pina, the queen, I appreciate you being here. And thank you for your amazing support. And I hope to be able to come back another time, to be able to come back and treat something. And I hope this really go to mind and we're able to learn one or two things. And thank you, everyone. And from my heart, I wish you an amazing week. And my earnest prayer for you that may this week be productive for you. May this week bring you a lot of success. May this week brings you into a place of peace and content. And may this week give you good ideas. Stay tuned till we meet again. And I acknowledge you, Fina the Queen, my beautiful wife, Mr. Shoma, Mommy Chibes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I read all your comments. Amazing. Thank you. And you are amazing too. And the Queen Fina herself is amazing. My beautiful wife, you're always amazing. And PhD Margaret, every beautiful person here, you are amazing. And I love you all. And I hope we catch up some other time. And to have a positive week. God bless you all. I'll be going for now. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Take care, Fina. Take care. Take care. Thank you. The Queen herself. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So, bye for now.